Welcome back to the AAA podcast, the show that gives you access hilarious to everything music, nightlife, and everything in between. My name's Lewis. This week, we are lucky to be joined by the Managing Director of Cabinet Noir, Edward Maradona. Thanks for joining us, Ed.
All good, man. All good. Thanks for having me.
How are you coping with quarantine at the moment? Well,
I'm actually enjoying it.
Yeah?
It feels like time just, stopped and, you're no longer rushing and, chasing deadlines and so on and so on. So for me, it's a good opportunity to, get ahead or catch up with things that I'm falling behind. No, it's been great.
You obviously so the shop's open now. Did you have to shop it? Sorry,
Yes.
Did you have to stop it in the early stages?
So we had to stop during, for everyone's safety, we decided to just kind of close it off. And then when restrictions lifted a little bit, we started taking private appointments because a lot of people have been hitting us up like, we need some new threads, and people just want to spend money.
Yeah.
While maintaining, taking, the huge precaution because we don't want anything to happen. I guess if we get it, then we'll infect everyone else too. So it was a tricky one.
Yeah, you're kind of balancing between obviously the survival of the business, but also you got to look at everyone's health at the same time.
We're quite lucky we have online channel as well. You can imagine if you're a restaurant or other businesses that are depending on traffic flow and human contacts, it's almost impossible to trade. But for us, we're lucky enough we can trade online, and we see a spike in online sales, which is good.
I was going to say, did you see a boost in online?
Yeah, I think it's not just us. I think this is the beginning of a new trend, and you start seeing a lot of big companies shifting into their digital platform. There was a huge transition, the past few years anyways already, and we start seeing that trend anyways. But I think just this coronavirus acts like a catalyst to make this process even quicker. Like a lot of them had to go this route. Otherwise, they won't survive. And most of them didn't survive. Like a lot of brands and a lot of companies didn't survive because they couldn't cope, they couldn't evolve quick enough, and they're too big, and their system is outdated, so they just crash and burn. But I've seen a lot of businesses that are moving into this digital platform and improving the digital platform as well, like improving the shopping experience online.
Are you going to is that something you're going to put a bit more? Obviously, now that you've got a bit of time as well, focusing
100%.
on.
So we're using this downtime to improve our online store and fixing it up, cleaning it up, putting more products on there. Just making it a lot easier for people to shop on an online store. It's a different ball game. Like online store is actually it's a different business altogether. You almost you have to set up. You need a different team, a full team to run this online backend, which is crazy.
I guess you got to keep it on top of it as well, because you could have someone coming into the store. They might buy a couple of things, but it's easier for anyone in Australia to go, all right, I'm going to buy 15 things right now. And then you've got to ship that straight away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%. And you see other companies, they have a separate operations team. They have warehouse that runs online, and you have the retail store team. It's a completely different team. So for us, we have our online is all linked up to the store. So we operate everything from within store, which is nice. But once you get big enough, you need to separate the online business with your bricks and mortar.
Yeah. And just before we go any further as well, do you want to give, I guess, everyone a 30-second introduction of who we are? Probably should have done this before the first question, but...
Yeah. So, my name is Edward Maradona, founder, director of Cabinet Noir. We've been trading since 2013. And, the way we describe our store is a progressive concept store. We're forever evolving, and we don't like to be pigeonholed into a particular type of boutique or concept or a store. We like to change things up, and we don't want people to dictate. You just kind of label us in a certain way, because the way we operate our business is completely different, and we like that. And we want to run it differently too.
You don't want to be in a box.
Yeah, and I guess for us is that the thing that we're proud of is we we find emerging designers and up and coming brands, and we tell the stories to the market and our consumers. And that's the thing that excites us when we find new things, new brands. Over the years, we've managed to uh, launch a lot of brands that now become like a global, you know, uh, insane brands that this is like and we're proud of being the first stockers in the world and stuff like that.
Do you think that, like, even coming out of Perth, obviously, previous guest on the show, Banks, obviously he's in your store now as well. Do you think there's something there that helps us build it to be bigger, or is it just, I guess, luck of the draw of who's a good designer and who can sell the most clothes, basically?
The way we see it, like are we talking about local brands like Banks and stuff?
Yeah,
Or?
like local brands here in Perth. Like, is there anything really that's here that is helping them, or do you think it's just they're a good designer and that's that? They could be in Melbourne, they could be in Shanghai, wherever.
To be honest, like Perth is actually a different city to all the other major cities in Australia. We find like Perth people just want, like, they love sporting local brands.
Yeah.
It's a thing that we take pride of. There's so many great local brands already in Perth, and you see kids just like everyone just going nuts for it. Like including our brand. When we release a collection, it just sells out so quickly, and that's testament to like the support that we get from local people. Whilst you don't get that similar sort of support from in Melbourne and Sydney, it's a different culture. We have such a tight knit culture here.
Yeah,
We're just so proud of wearing a Perth brand. Whilst if you go to Melbourne, like there's so many local brands there, but they're all scattered around. You know what I mean? They're all in their own little bubbles, I feel like. Whilst for us, the Perth bubble is so much bigger and so much tighter and so much closer. And we, like the locals, just want to support local brands and local businesses. That's insane to say. That's part of the major reason why I know a lot of Perth brands are doing so well, and Perth businesses are killing it at the moment.
Is because they have that support, and then obviously then that helps them grow, because someone in Perth wears something, and then it's all a word of mouth, I guess, at the end of the day, if they go somewhere else.
Yeah, and you see it everywhere too. So it's so good to see people wearing local brands. It's insane.
Yeah, and where obviously the name Cabinet Noir, I was reading, did a little bit of research, and that was it's a French name. Obviously, there's an explanation.
So yeah, I mean, a lot of people don't know where it came from.
Yeah,
but yeah, so when I was trying to come up with a name for the store, I was thinking of like a name that would bring, because in my ideas, I want to the store direction. I want to be like a high-end brand, like a high fashion, and the name has to sound really nice and kind of like luxury in a way. So there's things that I wrote, like things like that I wanted to name the store, like the Society, the Cabinet, but they're all taken, obviously. So I'm like, what's cool? And I remember, because I have a degree in film, and one of my favorite film genre was French noir, film noir, and I always loved the name, the word noir. It means black.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, what happened if I combine, and when I linked the two words Cabinet and noir together, it was like, oh, that sounds really nice. And I Googled it, and it was like one of those eureka moments. Holy shit, like that's exactly what I want. So the meaning means black room in French, and that's derived from back in King Louis the 15th or something like that. It's a hidden office where they used to open suspicious letters before it gets passed on to the recipients. And and that was like insane, because that's kind of like, in a way, very Illuminati-esque kind of thing, Yeah. And I love that whole idea. I was like, oh man, like it's a secret office, but it's necessary in the whole movement. So it's like it's a hidden kind of movement in a sense. And that's how we see our business, kind of like a hidden movement, but it's very important in the whole aspect of it. Without it, you will need this system and this kind of black room or this office to kind of run the whole operations scheme. For me, that's kind of stuck to how we run the business now. We're still kind of tucked away. Our business still kind of underground to a lot of people. We're not a mainstream business, and that's how we like it.
Yeah, but I get, so there was no, like, you didn't plan to do this. You just literally had those two different names, combined them together, and then found out the meaning after that. It wasn't like there was.
Yeah, it wasn't like, and it was just kind of like, holy shit, like
it just
perfectly.
Worked. Yeah.
Yeah, it just worked, and it just stuck to it, and we kept the name, and it sounds really cool. And until now, people still think it's a French brand, but it's like it's an Australian brand.
It's crazy as well. Like, even though you're saying like you're still like an underground brand. But I would consider you guys as being you're an underground mainstream brand. In the fact that like you're very, guess you're still like, if you walked around to a random person in Perth and said, do you know what Cabinet Noir is or where, they wouldn't know, but at the same time it's still a very...
I'm kind of like, I'm still scratching my head sometimes when I go overseas to Paris and stuff during the fashion week, and people know who we are now. So it's kind of like, wow, that's, for me, it's, it's nice to be recognized, really.
Yeah.
And that's something that, we worked on very, very hard to get to expand our business and just to expand our name as well. And in the industry, we start building a name.
Yeah.
But our goal is so far up. Like, we want it to be an established brand that everyone knows. Brands like Louis Vuitton or like Off-White, or people. It's a household name in the industry. But in a giant scheme of thing, like, we're still quite small. We're still quite underground.
It still allows, I guess it gives you a benefit as well. Like, you can do things and try things in it. Like, you know what I mean? You're not going to get if you do something and it doesn't go well, you're not going to get
100%
a major backlash.
Because of we're start running, we're still a small business. We have rooms to evolve. Yeah. We have rooms to improve. Like right now, I'm looking at during the coronavirus, I've seen so many big businesses just couldn't handle it because they're running a big ship. So when it sinks, everyone's sunk.
Yeah.
So, for us, it's like, because we're on a smaller boat, when the weather changes, it's easy for us to stay afloat. But the big boats, they're just sinking, because there's no way they can survive.
Yeah.
So that's part of, I guess our advantage being a smaller brands. So the bigger brands with bigger investors, they're more at risk during this particular climate.
And I think that's every, like, and that not just in like the clothing and retail, but every type of business.
Everything. I mean, like but you have some business that are stable with, a big financial backing and investor. It's a bit more stable for those type of businesses.
Yeah.
But yeah, then again, you have to be the top 1%. The 99% of the rest are at risk of losing everything.
And obviously you've moved a little while. You moved into the new store as well. So how was that?
We've actually been really, really lucky. Universe aligning real well. With the old store, it's starting to get a bit more stagnant, and the laneway is starting to lose its charm, initial charm. So, when we got fetched by this new place, Rain Square, which they're pretty much taking everyone out of King Street, out of the creating a new luxury precinct in Perth. And that was their pitch to us, like, hey, we want you to be in the middle of it all, and this location was just perfect, and it's so easy to deal with. They've been amazing to work with, and that's kind of, and part of the big reason we also want to help them out as well to create a buzz out of this new location. And the new location has been great. It's much bigger, much spacier, and easier for people to find. And we're right next door to Louis Vuitton, which is crazy.
Perfect.
Yeah, perfect. I'm like, yeah, when you say what? We're like, next door, right? Cool, we're in.
Was it just a end of lease type situation with the old place, or?
Yeah, in a way, like, so as soon as that contract kind of coming to an end, we're like, right, cool, let's move into this place. And in my head, we need to as a brand, you always need to rebrand yourself, every 5, 6 years, 7 years.
Yeah.
It's like anything, rebrand your logo, rebrand your looks, rebrand your direction. And that's kind of like perfect timing.
And it's obviously now you've moved into there. I think once this is all over, everyone's going to kind of go back and go, all right, especially in Perth, we're going to support local brands, and they're going to come out in droves because everyone wants to see businesses survive, basically.
And the sport's been really amazing, with, again, like, I give a lot of much love to all the our local customers. The community's been great.
And obviously so explain how you came up with the name Cabinet Noir. How did the business start?
It's one of those things that nowadays you can just Google how to start a store, and they tell you how to start a business. It's so easy to start a business. Back then, it's more like doing a lot of research, asking a lot of people, and still not a lot of information out there.
Yeah.
So it's more like a lot of trial and error. And I've been in retail for over 15 years. So that was kind of like my background, but it's still completely different running your own business. When people say they know what they're talking about, most likely they don't really know what they're talking about. Even now, like, the big business still scratching their heads. no one's really got it figured out. It's more luck for draw, testing things out, because you don't know where the market's going, especially where fashion is at the moment. It's so fast paced. For me, it was more like starting a business plan, and then it just started the shop and opened up the shop. We have an empty shell, which is the shop, and then it's a matter of getting brands in, and that was another tough challenge as well, trying to get brands in, trying to tell the brands like, hey, we're a good enough store to carry your brand.
Yeah.
And that's an ongoing battle, really. Even until now, like, we still have to pitch the brands, hey, we're a cool store, like, you should try to work with us. We get rejected many times, and there's also a lot of brands that say yes. And now it's like it's amazing when I get brands hitting us up instead. They're like, hey, we want you to carry us. Like, what? Oh, awesome.
Was there a specific moment or a reason why you started the business, or was it just something that interested you and you were like, I'm going to try?
I've had it in the back of my head for since I was 18, 19, when I started working at Foot Locker. I was like, hey, one day I want to have my own store.
Yeah.
And then when opportunity came, I just decided either I'm going to invest the money into a house or invest into a business. And I decided to invest in the business. And, it's the best lesson ever.
I want to change a little bit from this and ask you a question. I've wanted to for a while, but you've never been in store when I've gone in. Where did your love for Mickey Mouse and Disney come from?
Oh, man, I don't know. Something about it's just something like a lot of old cartoons kind of like stuck it, I grew up with Popeye, watching a lot of Disney movies. I don't know, something about the logo, the culture. It's kind of like, just so happy.
Yeah.
Same with the anime culture, growing up with these sort of old school animation and, Hanna-Barbera, I love the whole kind of vintage look, like old and nostalgia feel.
The reason I ask is I remember being in the store, and in the old store, there was a Mickey Mouse sculpture.
Steamboat. Yeah.
Yep.
Steamboat.
And I remember whoever was in store, I said to them, I want that. They said that you loved it. So it was just curious to find out.
Oh, man. I think it's not just us, like so many people kind of like, it's, when I was like, do you like Disney? 99% would say yes. Probably only know a handful of people. It's like, no, I hate Disney. I'm like, all right, well, you hate happiness.
That's a fair point.
I'm like, and I know what type of person you are if you don't like Disney. But yeah.
Do you still have that? Is that Steamboat in the new store? Or
100%. So I bought that from Disney World. That was kind of like, the sculpture. I'm like, holy shit, that's a Steamboat Mickey. I love that.
Yeah.
And it's only like $150. Just send it back to Australia, and yeah, still using it as a display every now and then.
Is that all it was?
Yeah, not that expensive. I thought it would be more. I thought it would be like $300. But,
yeah.
When I found out the price, like, what? 180? I'm like, yeah.
Done.
Oh, yeah, done. Got it.
Oh, awesome. Well, what's the next move for Cabinet? Like, what are you looking for in the end of 2020?
Right now, we have so we've combined force with the guys from Banks. So they're, we're working together to launch our Cabinet Noir collection more regularly and more seasonally.
Yeah.
And I think, and the product's getting better and better. The quality is getting more insane, and we're getting more technical. And we want to be able to show people, like, you can get real high quality products at, moderately priced. So like, for example, our hoodies would cost around $400, $500 normally, but we sell at, $250, $260,
yeah,
$230. So you get like a really high quality product at a more affordable price. And that's something that we want to expand on and eventually get our names and our brands out, globally as well. Hopefully we can get stocked, in the biggest stores in the world, do collaboration with the biggest brands in the world. So, that's something in the pipeline, and, we're talking with a lot of brands already. So it's very, very exciting. But right now, 2020, 2021, you're going to see a lot more Cabinet Noir products coming out of, our lab.
Yeah, it's good to obviously stocking other brands, but growing your own as well, and
yeah,
trying to basically flip what you're doing and getting your stuff in other people's.
And that's also another thing that we have to make sure our brands align with the brands that we carry, because we don't want to, we don't want to produce crap products, because our brand's going to sit next to, the best brands in the world. And it's just not cool to have like a shitty quality, Cabinet Noir products next to high-end, made in Italy or made in Portugal products.
Yeah.
So we want to make sure the quality's up there before we can put them on the floor, before we're confident to selling them.
And who's someone that you have wanted or want in the store, but you just haven't got to or haven't been able to reach, or like is there like a goal of someone that you really want to stock in there? Or
to be honest, we actually got everyone that we wanted. Now our goals is trying to, eventually my biggest dream is I want to collaborate with brands like Jordan or Nike, have our own ๡ Nike collaboration or ๡ Jordan collection. That's been like something that I've always wanted to work towards. Huge fan of those two brands. So, eventually I will, one day we'll get there, hopefully.
Look, obviously the brand is growing, and obviously you got the new store. So the only other question in regards to that store is, would you ever look at doing a second shop, like in a different location? Obviously, so if we get the current situation, like if it was financially,
I was gonna say, because the way it is going now, everyone's not expanding, everyone's more pulling back.
Yeah.
So you start seeing like Nike, huge brands like Nike, for example, just focusing on their digital platform, like mostly.
Yeah.
A lot of big companies closing their bricks and mortar, just trying to expand on the digital platform. So for us, we have to continue with that route as well in order to survive, in order to, be ahead. We have to kind of look at different avenues of like, bettering our digital platform. Like how do we make shopping experience much easier, much better online, on the apps, or, anything like, I've already started seeing new ways of interacting customers through digital platforms. So that's something like we need to research on, look at, expand on as well.
Pre-COVID, would you have gone like
No.
into a?
We've always just wanted one store. Once you become two, 3 stores, then you get heading into franchise mode, and we don't really want to be a franchise.
Yeah.
We wanted to run an independent. Because at the end of the day, we want it to be a destination. Like for example, one of my favorite stores, ʔɪsᴛᴇilь.
Yep.
Located, they were in Paris for the good 20 years, and they only had one store. And it was a destination. When you go to Paris, you have to go to ʔɪsᴛᴇilь. And it's the same thing, like when people come to Perth, they have to come here. It's a destination. So, and we want to give them a good experience as well. And that's something that we want to, really, really focus on, the service and that experience, the, shopping experience.
Well, look, it's been good to have you on the show, and hopefully we'll plan to do something on camera as well soon as well. So that'll be...
Yeah, sounds good. Let me know what you need.
Yeah, we'll work something out.
I'd love to have you guys in here.
Plan it from there. But look, thank you for joining me. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks, mate.
And thank you to you, the people, for listening and watching the AAA podcast, the show that gives you access to lyrics to everything music, nightlife, and everything in between. If you want to watch more episodes, you should be able to click above. If you want to listen, they should already be there as well. Other than that, follow us on all our socials, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and we will see you in 2 weeks for our next episode.